Hello, everyone, and welcome into today's reading. This is for Tuesday, February 13th. So we're going to take a look at what all energy wants to come in and what all messages are coming in for you from God, Spirit, the Divine. So we will take a look at the overall energy for the collective. And then we'll also pull some cards for the groupings, for the zodiac groupings, and some oracle cards, and see what wants to come through. So also there will be videos posting here within the next day or so on the energy for the second half of the month, and this is going to be by sign grouping, and then within each of those reads I'll pull a couple cards for the individual zodiac signs as well. So make sure to check those out and hit that subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those videos are posting. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into today's reading and see what wants to come through for you. Four of Pentacles in reverse. Oh my goodness. Eight of Cups in reverse and the Chariot. So if you were watching last week, the Four of Pentacles in reverse came out, kid you not, 4 days in a row. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Four of Pentacles in reverse for the overall energy for the whole collective. So as you know, statistically speaking, there is a 2% chance of that happening in any one given reading, since there's 78 cards and they have upright and reverse, and I pull 3 of them. So the fact that this keeps coming out over and over is definitely a strong message from the universe. We also have our Eight of Cups in reverse, and this is about feeling stuck and avoiding change. And but then we also have our Chariot, which this is that fast moving energy. Things are changing, things are happening. So I guess if you hadn't seen the videos from last week, the Four of Pentacles in reverse is really about it's about like being generous and charitable, but it's almost this sense of like overdoing it, like overextending yourself. So that's the way that it's been reading, has been this sense of like, oh, well, the situation is imbalanced, but let me just keep giving more and more. And then maybe the other person will realize, maybe the situation will change. And so there is a sense of, even though, yes, it often has to do with being charitable and generous, it has an element of overdoing it. So in some situations, that could be a matter of overcompensating because you feel bad about something, or just a matter of, oh, I'm just going to keep giving and giving and giving, and I hope the situation's going to change. I hope the person will realize what I'm doing. But yeah, with the Eight of Cups in reverse, definitely it's like avoiding change. So, but it looks like things are going to be changing. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what messages are coming through for the individual groupings and see what all we can get. All right, today let's start with our water signs. All right, so water signs, that's going to be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This one jumped. We have the High Priestess, and when it jumps, usually I'll pull another one, and Temperance. So the High Priestess, this is going to be that inner wisdom, that kind of divine feminine, higher consciousness type of thinking. And then we also have the Temperance card. So Temperance is about balancing, and it's about finding that harmony. So let's see what else is coming through. And it looks like, with the Chariot card coming in, that sense of finding balance and finding harmony is coming in soon. All right, so our Gaia card, we have a hidden gift, sadness and ending a new beginning. So with that, it's a little bit of that sense of, if you're looking at this inner wisdom and higher consciousness, it's kind of like, okay, you are acknowledging the fact that you're in this cycle of overgiving because you're avoiding wanting to face the reality that's trying to come through. So because of the fact that we have this avoidance of change, it's almost like putting those blinders on and saying, you know what, for example, if it's a relationship that's falling apart, like that the other person is just not energetically engaged in the relationship anymore, and you're sitting there in that energy of, oh, well, maybe if I just try a little bit harder, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to, shower them with affection. I'm going to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of, so that way it's stress-free. It's almost like I'm going to continue to overdo things because I'm hoping that if they're not putting forth the effort, if I'm putting forth double the effort, then it's going to be fine. And, I think there's that realization that's coming in that it's like, no, it's not going to be fine. Like, you doing 98% of the work of the relationship doesn't mean that, oh, okay, and then the other person does 2%, so it's 100%, and everything's fine. So I think there's that realization coming in, and the Temperance card is that sense of balance and saying, no, this doesn't work if it's, this person does all this and this person does this tiny bit. Like, it has to be more balanced. And so the hidden gift part, the sadness and ending a new beginning, is that sense of, okay, that's got to stop. So whether the ending is the ending of the relationship because, the other person's just unwilling or unable or uninterested in making those changes, or if it's, the sadness part could be, okay, I really have to say something, and it's going to hurt this person's feelings, but I have to say something, and that conversation creates the end of that cycle for you. But it looks like with the Chariot, looks like that's coming in, I guess, quickly, like sooner rather than later. So the Goddess card is Hathor, receptivity. Allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give to others. So this is the whole thing, like with the receiving part is, you are an amazing being and you deserve to be treated well. And so don't feel like, oh, if I'm sitting back and allowing myself to receive, it means I'm being lazy. It means I'm not taking care of other people. Sometimes that's an inner core wound that needs to be, I guess, examined and healed. Is what is your reluctance to receive your blessings? Because if you pull back on the efforts, for one, it gives the other person room to actually show you more attention and things like that. So sometimes it's a fear of, well, if I stop with my efforts, then there's going to be no effort at all in the relationship and it's going to fall apart. Sometimes it's that if you stop doing everything, then the other person has to step up and they'll realize it. All right. And then we have joy. May you pursue what lights you up. So this is also that reminder, goes nicely with that higher consciousness and inner wisdom, that you need to do things that are feeling good for you, that are fulfilling to you. And there is a certain amount of fulfillment or joy that comes with taking care of other people and things like that. But at some point, if you're doing that and there's nobody taking care of you, then you're just sitting there with an empty bucket. And so, you need to make sure that you're taking care of you so that way you can have that energy. Like, your whole life can't just be about, I have to take care of everybody else, and if I'm unfulfilled or if my needs aren't being met, that's okay because everybody else's are. Like, you have a right to have your needs filled as well. So look for those opportunities for joy, for what lights you up inside. All right, now we are on to our air signs. So that is going to be our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Let's see what message wants to come through for you. The Moon. So this is about things that are in your subconscious, things that are, not apparent to you, maybe things that are happening by the dark of night. So it also has to do with not only the lies that other people are telling you, but the lies that you're telling yourself. So around this, that it could be that that the lies that you're telling yourself is that I have to do all of this. I have to keep doing this because if I don't, then the relationship's going to fall apart. If I don't do everything at work, then this team is going to fall apart. We're going to lose clients. There's that fine line between giving it your all and overdoing it to the point where nobody else has room to grow. So I think there's a narrative that you're telling yourself that you have to be the one to do it all. And that's not the case. You don't have to be the one to do it all. Yes, you should be involved, but you know, the other members of the team, whether that's a team at work, whether that's your sports team, whether it's your family, whether it's your romantic relationship, the other person has to be involved too. And you know, so the interesting thing, and I'll go sports analogy here on you for a minute. You know, Wayne Gretzky is, you know, hands down like the best hockey player of all times. When you look at the total points he scored, I mean, he's the point leader by so far that no one's going to catch him. But you can take out all the goals he scored, and his assists still put him as point leader. And so, you know, the message there is that, yes, he's the greatest hockey player that's ever lived, but it's not just all about him. It wasn't, here, let's have him do, you know, 98% of the work for the whole team. He had so many assists because he's helping to set up the rest of his team so that they can succeed. It's kind of that same thing. Like, he didn't do it all himself, and don't put yourself in a position where you're trying to carry the weight of the entire team, whatever that team is. All right, Winter's End, regeneration, rebirth, positive outcome. So this looks like it's the ending of a frustrating cycle. I would say it's probably this cycle here of like overgive, because that's your way of resisting the change that needs to come in. And it could be a positive or a negative change. And I think you're telling yourself that it's going to be a negative change, like, oh, if I stop doing this, then this relationship will fall apart. But it could be a positive change. It could be that when you stop doing some of these things, other people are going to pick up the slack, and it's going to get even better. So, and the other part of that, and I know you might have picked up on it might do that, but the reality is, if it falls apart because you're not doing all of it, was it really actually, you know, if we're talking about like relationships, was it really actually a balanced relationship? Was it really a healthy and fulfilling relationship if you have to do everything? Probably not. All right, so let's take a look at the Gaia card. Guinevere, true love. The romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. So I would say if you're partnering this with, if your current situation is one where you feel like you're giving and giving and giving, and you're frustrated by that, there's, I guess, two paths, whichever one's resonating more with you. Either that's not really your person, or that is your person, but you need to stop giving so that they can have the opportunity to give and to really contribute to the relationship. And then you're going to feel that, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. So then we also have decide. May you navigate with purpose. So you have to decide how it is that you want to live. You know, do you want to continue to be burned out? Do you want to continue to be in a position where you feel like you're the workhorse that has to do everything? But you need to be honest with yourself about why is it that you're doing that? Are you making excuses for somebody else? And if it's a work situation, are you making excuses for the rest of your team? Maybe they're incompetent, but you don't want to see them get fired. So instead you're doing your job and their job. But is that really sustainable? Probably not. So that is the message for our air signs, is to really take a look at your beliefs or you know, your thoughts, and why is it that you're doing what you're doing? All right, on to our fire signs. That is our Aries, Leo, Sag. Judgment. So Judgment's coming in. This is card number 20 of the Major Arcana, which means it's almost to the point of wrapping up a cycle. So the World card is card number 21. That's the last one in the Major Arcana. And with the Major Arcana, with the World card, that doesn't mean, oh, you know, now everything is perfect in your life and you ride off into the sunset. The Major Arcana is kind of examining the path and progression of certain life cycles and lessons. And so with Judgment coming in, it's being, I'll say, judged favorably, like divine blessings and that things are working out in your favor if you're learning the lesson. So remember, the arc is all about new lesson, new experience type of thing. So if you've learned, you know, if this was the energy that's out there of giving too much, I don't want to change, with this card coming in, if you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to see the truth and the reality, you're going to loop again for another cycle. And so it's giving you the opportunity. That card is kind of giving you that opportunity to say, hey, this can move quickly. So it stands out with the Chariot in the bright red letters. It stands out that things will move quickly when you can honestly say that you've heard what the message is, you've heard the divine, that this is the lesson, and you're working on incorporating it into yourself, you know, into your daily processes, into your thought patterns, into your beliefs, whatever the case may be. All right. So the Gaia card is Night Wind, facing fear, subconscious release, and healing. So again, this kind of goes back to the whole thing of, if you're just dumping oodles and oodles of energy, your pentacles, your resources, your money, maybe it's time, maybe it's energy, into a situation, and you're overdoing it, you need to face that fear. Why is it that you feel like you have to keep doing that? Why is it, you know, if that situation were to go away, and I like that it's that using the so what or what if type of analysis, asking yourself, you know, if you say, okay, well, why am I doing this? Well, because if I don't, the other person isn't going to pick up the slack. So what? And then you kind of keep asking yourself that. Well, then things won't get done around the house. And, you know, so what? Well, then that house will fall into disrepair. And, you know, and so you just kind of keep asking the question until you get to a point where, you know, and maybe it's a matter of, people will judge me if this falls apart. You know what I mean? Like, so you get to a point where there's some really core root issue. And then that's the part that you can take a look at and work on healing. All right. Goddess card is Athena, inner wisdom. You know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom and take appropriate action without delay. That is a situation where, if you're getting to a point where we're coming up on judgment, it means that this situation has been sitting out here for a while, whatever this is. It's not like, oh, hey, last week I felt like I had to put in a lot of extra effort at the office, or last week I had to put in extra effort at home or with my best friend. You know, this situation with the Judgment card, it's been there for a while. And it's now at a point where it's like, okay, are you learning? If you are, then yes, you're going to kind of swiftly have some good progress. If not, get ready for another round. Clear. May you see things as they are. And with this one, seeing things as they are, not as you want them to be, but as they truly are. So if you've been in this cycle for a long time of overgiving of your time, energy, money to whatever the situation is, you need to see it for what it is. You can make excuses all day long as to why it is what it is. You know, like if you're burned out at work and so you've just been giving and putting in more hours. If you've been putting in more hours than you're comfortable with, or than you feel like you should have been for the last 2 years, that's not a matter of, oh, hey, we just need to push through this project. It's, you know, seeing it clearly that the company doesn't value having properly staffed teams. So then you need to decide, is that a company that you want to work with? Is that, or work for? Is that a company that's aligned with your values of, you know, work-life balance? So at some point, putting in the extra effort becomes a new philosophy, you know, a new way of being. All right, so now on to our earth signs, our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let's see what wants to come through. the Hierophant. So this is that mentor, guru, traditional type of structure. So it looks like for the earth signs that you're reaching out to get some help from somebody else, you know, whether that's a therapist, counselor, coach, whether it's just a good friend that has some of that information to be able to share with you. And the reds there, I think the help will come quickly when you start to reach out for it. And then it can also get you moving in a better direction to being able to be feeling better about your life situation. And how do you tackle this imbalanced situation in your life? Your Gaia card is Remembrance, resurfacing of past feelings and emotions. And this can be either that reminder as to why it is that you're in this situation. You know, maybe it was just, hey, this was supposed to be a short-term thing. You know, if it was a work situation, hey, you were only supposed to be working those 70 hours a week for, you know, a few weeks until they hired somebody new, and now we're sitting here 2 years later, and this is just the way it is. You know, so you're remembering some of those feelings, and weighing them appropriately. So you don't want to live in the past, good or bad. You know, you don't want to sit here and keep taking walks down memory lane just because it's like, oh, well, maybe this could be, you know, maybe we could get back to how things were 20 years ago. Well, you know, if you haven't yet, it's probably not. Like, so don't use walks down memory lane as a reason to stay where you're not happy. So working through those emotions and feeling them. Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. And this is kind of that reminder of don't keep yourself in situations or move yourself into situations where you're not happy and fulfilled because you're afraid that there's nothing better out there for you. So I'm not advocating like constantly saying, oh, could I do better? Could I do better? Should I leave this relationship, leave this job, leave my friends because I think I can do better? But don't be desperately clinging because you're afraid there's nothing better out there. Okay, release. You may lay down your burdens. All right, so that is definitely going with this. Lay down your burdens. Stop doing all of the work. Stop overextending yourself just for the sake of trying to keep the peace. So I hope that you found today's message to be helpful. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. So as I mentioned at the beginning, there's going to be some new videos posting this week. So make sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe if you want to be alerted as to when those new videos come out. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.